Day, which is a great choice. Sam, what's
Can I
up?
tell you? Let me tell you a story about this sweater. So
Yeah, you
very,
better have a story.
very strange. This is from 2002. I think. Can you see it here? It says Ralph Lauren 2002. This is a memorial sweater for 9/11, which begs the question: is a sweater really the right form to memorialize a
To
terrorist
pay
attack?
tribute?
Yeah, I guess like if Ralph Lauren could pay tribute on a sweater, then I guess like we can pay tribute on a variety of things.
You got to love that marketing meeting where they're like, "This is a tragedy in America, and there are no words."
There are
Could be a
sweaters.
sweater.
But in America, we celebrate capitalism.
So that's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my 9/11 memorial sweater for Christmas.
What a choice. Ethan in the chat. Never forget, Sam. Never forget. That's
Yeah.
right.
You won't because I will be reminding you, but it'll be on my sweater.
That's amazing. All right, so Steph, welcome back. You've been on,
Thank you.
I don't know, a dozen times or so. You're a great friend of the pod. We wanted to do this with you. So we have categories, a bunch of categories for the year, and we're gonna go rapid fire through them, and we'll do it that way. Okay, so Steph, you've been given the categories, but we don't know what you said. Sam, I don't know what you said. This will be a surprise for all of us. Okay, so category number one. Unless Sam, did you have any other preamble? I feel like I'm rushing.
You're rushing.
Yeah, I
we've
put my
done
hand
this-
on the thigh, but like forgot to introduce myself.
Yeah, we've done this. We've done this. We've done this for a few years now. I wish we actually would have recapped some of the numbers, but over the last 12 months, Shaan, I don't know if you've known this, but we've had something like 90 million views across everything, downloads and views.
Amazing.
So pretty wild. That always
We
that always-
crossed, I think we're close to 2 million subscribers across YouTube, Spotify, and Apple or whatever, which is bananas. I mean, that number 90 million, that's a lot of view time, a lot of views.
It's a lot, and like there's definitely like one or two shorts that got like 10 million. I think last year there was one where we told the story. Maybe you told the story of Elon Musk. I think it got 30 million. So like some go really heavy, but it's been pretty crazy. So we've reached tens of millions of people in the last 12 months, which is astounding. And now we do this at the end of every year, and it's one of my favorite things. We do mostly the same categories each year, but it's always like so fun to go through your phone and like look at old photos and see what's going on from your trail in 12 months. So I'm excited to do this. So category number one, the best investment that you made this year. Is that right?
Best investment you made this year. So, Sam, you want to kick this off?
Yeah. So if this just says investment, it doesn't say best money investment. My best money investment is always boring because I just do S&P 500 bonds. But my best real investment that I made was I moved to New York City. And let me tell you the story. So I was living in the suburbs. I decided to move to New York City. I moved here and I found an apartment that I loved. It was furnished amazingly. And I go to the previous tenants. I go, I want to move into this apartment. Do you guys just want to sell me all your furniture? And so I had them itemize all of their furniture, and it added up to be very expensive, $80,000 or $90,000 worth of stuff. I said, I'll give you 10%. They took it. So I ended up moving to the city in a furnished apartment where I get to see my in-laws 4 days a week. I go to my office 5 days a week, and it's made me so happy. So that's been my best investment, was moving to a furnished place. I sold all my cars. I don't own basically anything, and I love it.
Owning less stuff, moving to the city, being near your family, working in person in an office. That's actually a pretty big change overall.
Huge change, and it's definitely made me a lot
Questionable
happier.
if it's an investment, but it is a huge change. I will give you that.
It's an emotional investment. I'm emotionally invested in this city now.
See, this is why I don't do index funds and bonds, because imagine if I'm one day on a podcast and they ask me about best investment of the year and I can't, so I have to start talking about seeing my mother-in-law. Like that's why I pick stocks, baby. That's why I do it.
Yeah, like what am I gonna say? My net worth went up by 30% this year through boring stuff. Like,
Steph, what do you got? Best investment of the year. Tell me it's an actual investment and not like the
Shaan,
best investment is myself.
I'm about to disappoint you, man.
Oh my God, you're both
The
like this.
only time I check the S&P is to gauge my husband's mood for the day. So he invests all our money, and so I gotta come up with something else. My investment is also not really an investment, but it's Accutane. You guys know what Accutane is?
what? Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that like acne medicine? What is that?
Yes. So backstory real quick. I've had acne my whole life, like truly since I was 13. I'm 32 now. So what is that? That's nearly 2 decades of just unnecessary pain, time applied, just the worst. Anyone who's had acne knows it sucks. So I spent forever just being like, it'll go away. I'm getting older. And then I was influenced by the king influencer, Mr. Beast. He was on, I can't even remember what podcast, but he just slipped it in one day. He was like, yeah, I took Accutane a few years ago. Didn't really tell anyone, but like one day my acne just disappeared overnight. I don't know why more people don't talk about this. And I was like, first of all, yes, why don't more people talk about this? And second of all, I'm going to call up my dermatologist and ask why I'm not on Accutane. And I took it for 6 months this year and I'm clear. And I think it's like, you know, obviously your mileage may vary, go talk to a doctor, but I'm just like, this is the best thing ever. I don't know why more people don't take this.
I'm zooming in on your face.
Can you get a little closer to the camera?
Well, people, the internet can do the comparison. I mean, I always wear makeup. So take right now, go back to like V1 of me on my first million. It's going to look different.
You should post a tweet of a true before and after.
Well,
A success
I think
story.
that's the thing. People are so embarrassed to like, you know, if I were to actually take, I'm sure I've got some images of me, no makeup during those periods. It's embarrassing. So
Well, we have another category called biggest personal L you took, and maybe there will be some
I'll
photos
dig up a
that
picture
might be
just for
shared
that.
during that time. Okay, so you also didn't do the category. We're off to a rough start here. I have a
Shaan,
real
you gotta-
investment. The people know I am here for you. I am here to actually provide the information that you guys pay nothing to have. All right, so my investment. So this is actually kind of funny. A year ago to the day, so this December 17th today, I tweeted out on December 16th this tweet. So I said, I'm going Christmas shopping this morning. I'm Xmas shopping assets this morning, and I tweeted it out. So basically what I did was that day I took something like $1.5 million and I spread it across these stocks, and I tweeted it out that day. I said I'm putting 20% into Shopify, 20% into Tesla, 20% into Eli Lilly, 20% into Bitcoin, 20% into Coinbase. The one I forgot to put on here is I also put 20% Google. And or sorry, not 20% Google. I put 250K into each one. So I think the total was 1.25 million invested. On the same day, on December 16th. No dollar cost averaging, no research, no nothing. I was just feeling like these are things I would like to gift myself for long-term ownership. And if I look, so the results of these now are what? So I just looked this morning because I haven't really been checking too aggressively. So I had a couple that were flat. So Coinbase and Bitcoin are essentially flat. Coinbase is up 1%, Bitcoin's down 8% in that total year span. But everything else, Shopify's up 53%, Tesla's up 16, 17%, Eli Lilly's up 35%, Google's up 50%. And so my public stock bet that I put out there is my best investment of the year because, you know, I think the blended average here is something, what is that? I thought I pulled it up somewhere. I think it's something like 35% for the year. And so that was a good return on a one-day shopping spree.
You use these words like shopping spree and things like that as if they apply here, which is hilarious.
I was supposed to be Christmas shopping, gifts for others, and instead I bought stocks for myself.
I thought you committed to the index path last year. I distinctly remember you saying that.
No. If I did, these are false promises. I am part of this degenerate lifestyle for now and for always.
So Shaan, what do you do? Do you keep those 5 or do you pick 5 new ones?
But the one part that's not I'm not trading these. These are like what companies or assets do I want to own for like a 10-year period? 10 years is my sort of default hold period. And that's what I graduated in college in 2010, and it's basically what I've been doing since then. So I had one thing that I bought for 2010 to 2020, and then in 2020 I bought a bunch of stuff which wasn't so great because that was when COVID was happening and it was like a really crazy time. But in general, when I buy things, I try to hold them for 10 years. That's the goal.
Why Eli Lilly? Because they do Ozempic?
Because you told me that they had some drug that was incredible. And you were like, Retrutitide, what is it? You texted me something, and I was like, listen. I didn't listen when Sam said the Ozempic thing. But literally, it was literally the only that. It was just you telling me that this drug is incredible and it puts Ozempic to shame. and it wasn't fully out yet or something. I don't know what. I don't know. You had some early.
I got a
sniff around
guy.
this?
Yeah, I had a guy basically. So I like to biohack, so I test all types of crazy stuff. A lot of times it's like compound stuff, meaning like it's like stuff from China, and I don't know like what I'm allowed to admit to right now. I don't want to like go to jail, but yeah,
Your friend does all
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, your friend
And
also named Sam. Does what?
and it did all of the stuff that Ozempic does, other than make your stomach feel sick. And I started taking it, and it's amazing. It's so good. I mean, I don't take this stuff like regularly. It just anytime something new comes out, it's sort of like, oh, what's a DVD player? I gotta buy one. You know, that's what I do with drugs. Like you learn about new technology, and it was amazing.
So you told me this, and then since then, the
Did you research
CEOs
it though?
No, dude, you told me it, I think that day, and I was like, you know what? I'm putting Lily in here.
It's up 34%.
It's up 34%. I didn't say I researched these, by the way. I operate on gut and swagger, okay? And so the since then, the CEO of Eli Lilly has come on, and because Lilly has turned into like $1 trillion company. It's like the first pharmaceutical company to do that, and he's explained all the incredible things that they do differently than the others, and how they're using AI. And I feel better about it now. There's more to like, but I can't say that any of those were the reasons why I did it. Like, yeah, they do seem to operate like more of a tech company now, but I don't know. It just seemed like people were going to want. I just sort of was like, people are going to. Ozempic is like the best product ever, and Sam says they have a better Ozempic coming. All right, great. That's enough. I don't need
Shaan's
to know.
investment thesis just says Sam tried some drug. That's it.
Well, I
Historically,
missed
that's been all right.
Sam's other ones, and so I thought, well,
Yeah.
for once, I'll do this.
Like, for example, like, do you remember when we invested in the mobility trend on Instagram?
No payoff, but yeah,
Yeah,
sure do.
like there has been a few things. We invested in Andrew Huberman early on. We've gotten a couple investments, right? It just turns out this one was financial. That's cool. Well, congratulations. Those are great. What about the biggest L?
Tat,
Or sorry,
Tat, you
the
gotta-
worst investment?
Chat, give us some feedback here on round one. Whose answers did you like? I think I might take this one because I might be the only one who actually qualifies for the answer to this. Wait, so oh yeah, I violated no public math. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so does that mean that worst investment of the year is also going to have no answers for you guys? Are we in trouble?
Yo,
here, or
I
we
have
got
one.
something? Okay.
My boy said that I was the best on here. So I got a few good ones. People voting for me. My worst one was. What?
That's the way you said it. I don't know. This is amazing.
You know, when I sold my company, I got a bunch of HubSpot stock, and I held on to a lot of it. And then I saw how multiples were getting crazy, and I had to like even out because it was making up too high of a percentage of my net worth. But I still kept some of it, and it's been obliterated this year. It just got totally. HubSpot stock got obliterated this year. Did yours, Steph? You owned, or do you still own yours? Oh man,
I don't know how much. Cal does.
She looks like she's about to go put on the 9/11 sweater, thinking about it right now.
HubSpot stock just got totally obliterated this year, so I lost a lot there. And for Ari's listening, basically, I think this year it's down. It was at 800 this year. Today it's $370 or something like that. So I got my ass kicked on that one. How about you, Steph?
Shaan's not gonna like my answer, but it's not financial. I did
It's a vitamin. Is it a vitamin?
No,
or
no.
like a supplement of some kind?
Worst investment, a vitamin. No, I did get a notice that a bubble tea company I invested in a few years ago during peak SERP went under. Unsurprisingly.
Like,
Huge
Oh, dude,
shock.
I've got like 20 of those
Franchise,
this
or
year.
What do you mean?
Oh,
a
it
bubble
was
tea?
it was literally these founders who were on one of those like crowdfunding sites who was like just had no real evidence that they would make a great bubble tea company, but I was like, bubble tea's great, and invested in that. But my actual answer for worst investment that is not financial is just networking events. I feel like you guys already know this, but like it's taken me way too long to
Name names. Which conferences do you regret this year? Let's put them out there.
all of them. Yeah, I think that's my worst investment, going to all these things that you just like, beforehand are going to suck. You're not going to like them, but there's some sliver of you that thinks like there might be something good there. And
Were
then
you required to go, or it was an optional attend and then you regretted it?
it was an optional attend. It was a lack of judgment.
Gotcha.
What about
Okay.
you, Shaan?
I like it. Sam, anything you want to add to her networking event answer?
No, no. I mean, what am I gonna? No, I agree with you. But yeah, I'm on board. What about yours, Sean? What's your biggest hell? Or
I
sorry,
gotta
your
say,
biggest
Steph,
loss?
I went to one networking event with you, and I thought you did great. I was like, wow, she's such a natural at these events, not because you weren't trying. And I was like, oh, people just seem to gravitate towards Steph. They want to hang out with her. She seems like a safe space for everybody who's exhausted from the networking part of this event. And I just remember thinking, I don't know how she did that, but I like that. That was good.
By the way, I had a great year at networking events. I went to an email newsletter conference. We went to Shaan's basketball thing. I went to the HubSpot conference like somewhat recently. I had a great year. Did you have like? I guess I only
much better than the others. What so you had a great like you.
I
what do you
like
mean?
going to
You had
networking.
a good time.
Yeah, like if I pick it, yeah, because I like seeing old friends. I've been in the industry for long enough that it's the only time that I see old buddies.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
Like, did you
I didn't
did you
really
like going to
I didn't really
HubSpot?
go to I didn't really go to anything this year.
You went to Inbound.
Well, that was in San Francisco. I just showed up and gave my talk and I left. So it was like, a very quick thing. Or I hung out with Dharmesh actually at the event. That was like kind of the only thing I did.
Yeah, that
But
sounds awesome.
okay, I'll give you my worst investment of the year. Once again, I took these literally. So here's my. This wasn't okay. So I guess it's a little less literal. I didn't lose money much in any investments this year, which was nice because in prior years, if you go back and watch these awards, it's like, hey, invested in this crypto Ponzi scheme. What's up with that? That was pretty bad. I've run into some trouble along the way. This year I didn't have any, but I will say this. I found out this year that I passed on 3 different $10 billion startup investments that were right in my wheelhouse and unbelievable. So the first one was Polymarket. I was one of the early users, probably the first 5,000 users of Polymarket. I'm a degenerate gambler. My college GPA is like half a point lower than it should be because I used to go gamble on riverboats in international waters and stuff instead of going to class. Like, I'm a degenerate gambler. I was using Polymarket. I was VPNing to pretend I'm in Morocco to place bets, allegedly. And so, I'm using Polymarket. I love the thing. The founder is in my DMs. He screenshotted his phone and posted one of my blog posts as the background of his phone. He's like, I thought you'd like this. This is my background of my phone this week. And I was like, the ultimate in, and didn't somehow end up making an investment, just like didn't go actively try to do it until it was too late. Kalshi, same thing, another prediction market, same product. If I didn't hit the winner, the first winner, Polymarket, maybe I could have hit the second winner. I go back, I check my DMs. They've been DMing me since 2020. Hey, huge fans of the pod. Would love to do something with you. All I needed to do was answer. And guess what? I did answer. And here's what my great answer was. So pretty similar to Polymarket then, huh? That was my son of a gun answer. And
How much would you have made?
The valuations of those were probably sub $100 million for sure at that stage. And now they're both above 10 billion. So no public math, but somebody in the chat can tell me how much money I lost. And the last one was Whatnot. So I get acquired by Twitch, the #1 live streaming platform. When I'm at Twitch, guess what I do? I tell Twitch, hey, we're losing the battlefield on mobile. I become the leader of mobile at Twitch to do mobile live streaming.
Dude, we talked about these guys on the pod too. You had a great spiel on them.
Talked about it on the pod. I actually meet with them. I asked to invest. I'm like, guys, I could help you. I know this space inside and out. I know all the talent you need to recruit. I know the best people from Twitch. We'll go poach them. We'll raid the pantry. This is going to be amazing. And he was like, yeah, we're pretty oversubscribed. And I was like, but it's me. Make some space. And he's like, all right, let me get back to you. He did not get back to me, and I did not get back to him, and I did not invest in Whatnot's first round, and now it's a $10 billion company also, and it was literally the thing I was doing, the thing I know probably, there's not 100 people on earth that know that space better than I do,
That sucks, man.
and missed it.
How many of your investments went under this year? Because this was the year where I probably got 10 emails of different angel companies angel investments that I made that they went under. It took about 3 years.
It's the worst phase, right? So we're probably both, since we started like angel investing. You had a syndicate, I had a fund.
Like 21.
The worst phase is going to be like year 3, year 4, because the only companies that are exiting are either small exits or just shutdowns at this stage. Your winners are going to ride for another 5 years. So it's like AngelList, you got a distribution, and you go check, and it's like $3.41 from this company. And then the founders bragging about their acquisition on Twitter, and you're like, just shoot me now.
Would you, going back, how many angel investments have you done, Steph?
I don't know, like 15?
Okay, so going back and, okay, so first of all, look forward in the future, 5 years from now, let's say you invested $100. What do you think that $100 is going to turn into for both of you? Or what IRR? I don't know how you want to measure it, but.
It's hard to say. I think it'll 3 to 4x basically over the 10-year period. So it'll be something like this is a guess. If my personal guess would be like something like a 3 to 4x over the 10-year lifespan of.
That does not seem worth it, right?
That doesn't even seem worth it for the K1s I have to deal with. Honestly, I don't know if you guys are different. My learning from Peak ZERP was I never want to angel invest again. Unless it's a company that I want to be involved with actively.
It depends. So like, I use a conservative estimate just to keep not like get my hopes up or just like false promise myself. But the thing with these is it depends on basically your bet. Like I did 110 deals. It just depends on your top 4 deals. So it's like I have these 4 companies. Right now, they're doing amazing. They're, like whatever, 100x returns on each of them or 50 to 100x. But like, will they last? Will they exit? Are they going to go up another order of magnitude from here? Like that's what you need in angel investing is to get like this sort of like multi-100x or 1,000x type of return. And then you look like a genius, but you don't really know for a while, to be honest. Like even the companies that are kicking ass right now, the breakouts, they were, it's hard to know. Can they sustain it? Will they get will they time the exit? Will they actually IPO? What's going to happen? It's hard to know.
I've done 56. My first 2 or 3 were pretty great. Like, maybe 10x or plus. And then my last 2 were like 100x or something like crazy like that. And so basically I had to go through 50 of them to get like the 1 or 2 winners, which is pretty wild. And so it will be.
It's the normal hit rate.
It's normal, but it doesn't feel good when you're on number 48.
The trick isn't even out of 100, can you get 12 instead of 6? Are your 6 as big as the big winners are in any given cohort of companies, right? Like, and it's also hard to know, right? I invested in Replit and it had like 2 million in revenue. It now has 250 million in annual revenue. It's growing like crazy. Like it's unbelievable. But like, where does this all go? It's hard to know, if that's sustainable to keep growing as fast as they've been growing.
All right, so next category is the biggest personal L that we took, okay? I'm gonna tell you what mine is, and it's gonna make you guys all just like cringe. So basically, I was at a party, it's about 6 months ago, and I overhear this group of people talking about being pregnant, and this one lady, I can't even tell you, I asked her when she was due.
I've done that one.
She wasn't due.
She wasn't due. And I said,
what do you do? What?
Dude, I spent.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I spent 30 seconds looking for an out. Oh, I thought and then in front of 5 other people, I just apologized. I said sorry, and I walked away. I said, I'm so sorry. I tried. I was like a guy falling off a cliff, grabbing for trees, and I couldn't grab a branch. And I was like, I thought you said you were pregnant, and I didn't see your kid with you, but so I didn't know like you had a kid and you left him behind. And then eventually it just was. I'm sorry. I just apologized.
It's so funny because on podcasts, self-deprecating is good. But like, what's full deprecating? Don't go full deprecating. You went full deprecating there.
I just like I'm not joking. And then my nanny was with me. Like we went to a party, and she was like, "You really blew that one." I was like,
I could tell. I did that at a Christmas party in 2013. I could tell you the exact place and date where that
everyone can.
And then it was like, it's never left me. How
I knew not to do that. I knew not to do that, but I just
told you about when I did it, and then
I knew not to do it. But it's sort of like. I don't know, like when you instinctively stop at a red light. Like I just thought I heard her say that she was pregnant, and I just said, "Wait, what do you do?" I don't know. It was horrible, and like it's one of these things that I'm gonna remember for the next 50 years.
Wait, I'm so curious. What do these women say when you apologize? Are they like, "Oh, it's okay"? Like people do this to me all the time, or are they like, "You're an asshole"?
No, she rubbed it in my face. She basically just smiled like smugly. Screw this lady actually, because it's her fault. No, she like looked at me and just like, she like acted disappointed in me.
Which she was.
So I don't know.
There's no acting.
She looked pregnant. She looked like a normal person. She just had a big belly.
Doubling down. She looked. Wow, that's outrageous. Amazing. We should segment to a HubSpot ad it. Just that one.
What's your
Speaking
Shaan,
of,
you go next.
all right, so I have a bad one too. So I got jury duty this year in April, and I was like, I've never had to go. Like they call, sometimes you call in because it's an every year thing, but it's like Russian roulette. So you call in, they're like, you don't need to come in, or you go in and right away they're like, hey, you're good to go. I used a hardship thing, like I got to be at work. I got out before. So this year, I expect it's going to go swimmingly again. And I show up, and all of a sudden it's like, no, you're definitely going to be needed. You're definitely going to be seen. There's a really big case. And I'm like, what? I don't want a big case. This is bad. And so I get into the jury duty, like where they're like vetting people, right? And the judge gives this big speech about civic duty. And like there's a presentation, like not even a presentation. Remember Prezi? The judge had a Prezi going on, and it was like zooming.
The judge is like
out.
proud of his animations. He's like, check
Exactly.
this out.
Like everybody is the first time they use Prezi, they're like, holy shit, this is better than Avatar. Like, and so the judge is doing a Prezi about like the founding fathers and how this is jury duty is the bedrock of society and all this shit. As you might guess, I'm completely unmoved. I'm completely unpatriotic in this way. I do not care. And so I'm like just formulating my idea of like how I'm going to get out of this. So I'm like, oh, I'll just say I have a work trip. Easy. They gave the dates. Funny enough, I got a work trip. So I'm in the row. So there's like 7 people ahead of me. First person stands up and says, Your Honor, I have a work trip. I'm not going to be able to attend. And he says, do you have the booking information? Can you please show it to me? And I'm like, what? And so that guy so I go on my phone and I'm
book
like,
a flight.
So I book a flight. And person number 2 goes, I don't hear him. I'm booking a flight. Person 3 goes, I'm booking a flight. The judge has reviewed that person's booking and says, this was booked today, and this was booked in the window after you were served notice. The flight needed to be booked before that. So now I've got a booking, and my lie is gone. So I'm like, oh, okay, what am I gonna do next? So the next person goes, and they say like, I'm really important at work. And so I'm like, I have this podcast. And I'm like, that's not gonna work. So I'm like, that's not gonna work. What do I do next? So eventually it comes to me. And I'm like, I do have a baby at home. So I was like, I have a baby at home. I need to be there to take care of the baby. My wife works. And so the judge is like, does your wife work at home? And I'm like, it's a personal question. But so I'm like, do I lie? Do I not lie? I'm like, she is at home. But I'm like trying to figure out like, how do I like, can I muddy the waters a little bit? So I was like, but she's. And basically, the only idea that comes to my mind is I'm like,
You gonna insult her?
Yeah, I'm like, do I just say she's a bad mom? Like, that's not gonna work. I'm like, but I'm the primary caretaker.
She's a drunk, sir.
So I'm like, I'm the primary caretaker of this baby. And then, like, I even remember the baby's middle name at this point. And then she's like, so could your wife take care of the baby? And I'm like, oh God, like I'm going way deeper in than I thought I was gonna go. And so I'm like, yeah, but I just want to feel comfortable with it. And then she's like, why?
You're like, look, Your Honor, what is it, noon? She's already about 8 Xanax deep. Okay.
I basically made my wife sound like either a bad mom or like a drug addict or something. Or like she's a drunk. And so I was like, you know what? I'll be fine. I'll be here. Can't wait. I'll be there. And so I just let it pass. Girl next to me, the lady asks, she's like, can you do it? And she's like, no. And the judge goes, why not? She goes, it's against my religion. I don't believe you should judge anyone. And she's like, what religion is that? She goes, and she cited a Bible passage, which was like basically about like, don't judge anyone. Therefore, because they don't judge you or something. And the judge was like, okay, thank you. You're dismissed. And I was like, oh my God.
Whoa.
That was it.
Couldn't you have just told him you're racist or something?
Yeah, I thought about that, but I was like, I was in a very diverse crowd, and I was like, I still have to like, in case I don't get off with that, I don't want to be around these people where I'm saying a lie that I'm racist. So it was a tough in the moment, but it was the biggest L I had was just embarrassing myself. And by the way, it was so fun. Jury duty was a great time, and I'm glad I got to do it. It was a great opportunity.
Did you make him guilty or innocent?
I didn't get picked in the end for the actual 8 in the box or whatever, that like the people who actually go sit there. I just didn't get dismissed early. So
So you spent the day.
I spent 3 days there.
You should wear a Purple Heart, man. You look at you. You really just taking one for the country.
It was true.
What's yours, Steph?
Guys, I swear my answers get better from here. My biggest personal L was staying in a job too long. No shade to my previous employer, but I think
Sounds like a lot of shade.
No, I promise.
umbrella.
I
Sounds
promise.
like a canopy.
You guys know I was working on a podcast for 3 years. It was a really cool opportunity, but I think the epitome of when other people think you should be good at something and you think therefore you should be good at something and that you should figure it out versus like driving full force towards a thing that you love doing. So.
And it was a pretty prestigious job. I think a lot of people would have been drunk off that as well.
Yeah. And so now I'm at Grok working on growth, and it's just, for me, way more fun.
And Steph, did we not have a conversation about this? Did I not tell you
that this
was
did,
the
Shaan.
case? Did I not try to tell you that don't carry this guilt or this feeling like you need to prove whatever, and that you're a superstar and you should be doing superstar things? I think I gave you that. You're a superstar. You should be doing superstar things. Talk.
You 100% did about a year in, and it took me 2 more years to make the call
It
myself.
didn't land.
Yeah.
I'm not very persuasive. All right. Next category we have is
Coolest moment.
coolest moment of the year.
I've got a good one.
Actually, can we skip to, let's do a couple of the non-personal stories. We'll come back to that one. So let's do, you want to do Billy of the Year or favorite guest? Which one do you want to do?
Let's do Billy of the Year.
Okay. Billy of the Year. Sam, you go first. Who you
Yes,
got?
I did this podcast with this guy named Steve Houghton. Steve Houghton is a billionaire via real estate and oil and gas, which is very vague, but I can explain. But at the end of the pod, I made a joke because we had talked about this whole podcast about how he was a billionaire, but it seemed like his kids really loved him. And I made an offhanded comment like, yeah, man, I got to come out and see how you manage your family sometimes. It's an inspiration. And without skipping a beat, he was like, how about in 4 weeks? We're going to be at our ski house. We have a room for you. And I was like, all right. And I just said yes. And then I had to go downstairs with my wife. I go, pack your bags, Sarah. We're going to Utah. She's like, with who? I was like, I met this guy. I just did a podcast with him. I've only known him for 60 minutes. I don't know anything about him, but we're going to his house. And I got to his house, and it was amazing. And it was amazing for a bunch of reasons because I got to see how he worked with his family, and it was really amazing. But it was pretty funny. They say money doesn't buy happiness, but I was very happy being in the 17,000 square foot home with his entire family. And I mean, this sounds like I'm being a D-bag, but this is the truth. I do think that wealthy people see their grown kids more than non-wealthy people, simply for the fact that there was room for all of us to be there and be comfortable. And it was amazing. And I've since stayed in touch with his kids, and he had another family there as well. And it was such a fun experience. And so Steve Houghton was my Billy of the Year.
Billy of the Year. Love it. Steph, who you got? Billy of the Year.
All right, so I tried to start from the perspective of what is a piece of technology that I think is just incredible and mattered this year. That piece of technology for me was Waymo. A lot of people are familiar with it. I got to interview their chief product officer a few years ago in a Waymo, and it's kind of crazy when you actually think about it. I think that was max 2 years ago, maybe 3. And when we were riding in that car in San Francisco, people at that time were still peering into the windows, oh my God, look at that crazy thing. And in the last few years, at least in San Francisco, Phoenix, a few other cities, it is so normal. There's Waymos upon Waymos upon, I've been at intersections where there's 8 Waymos at that intersection.
Does it make traffic faster?
No, not necessarily, but I think if you could have all the cars on the road, it would make traffic faster for sure. But the person I chose, the Billy, I don't know if he's actually a billionaire, so I'm cheating a little bit, but he's for sure a hundreds of millionaire, is Sebastian Thrun. He was one of the early
He's like
co-founders.
the godfather of self-driving.
Exactly. So let me throw out a few different pieces of his timeline. So he was motivated by personal tragedy. His childhood friend was killed in a car accident when he was 18. That got him invested in trying to figure out this self-driving equation in 2005. So 20 years ago, DARPA had a grand challenge funded by the US government. His team won. Then, 2007, he goes and he joins Google. And he didn't just create Waymo, he also co-founded and led Google X, their moonshot factory. He co-developed Google Street View. And of course, he was one of the creators of Waymo way back when. But here's the thing, he left in 2014 and he's also gone on to do some really cool shit. So in 2011, he put out this Introduction to Artificial Intelligence course online for free, 160,000 students enrolled. Because he saw how people could learn online, you don't need to be at Stanford to learn about AI, he created Udacity in 2011. And then since then, he's also led the Kitty Hawk Corporation. They were building electric flying cars, didn't ultimately end up working out, but that's another thing that he's been like super early to. We're now seeing these EV tool companies, you know, get off the ground. I just think this guy is super cool. Like, he's been early to all of these trends and is just like continuing to build, even though he's already, you know, he was early to Waymo, he's rich, and he's just continuing to dabble.
This guy's prolific. Good find.
There's like a lineage, I think, of people under him. Like, he had his initial lab, maybe at Stanford or whatever, and somebody who was doing self-driving was describing, like, you know, basically all the modern self-driving kind of like leaders. If you just trace their kind of lineage, it's like he had 6 people or 7 people under him. It was that school of thought that sort of like branched out and created like all the different people in the industry today. So he's very much like what was a sort of grandfather or godfather to the industry.
Yeah.
He's also he's got some range because like he created a these cars things, which is like the most brilliant thing on earth. But then also he has a course business, and that's I'm being silly a little bit, but that's like not, in my opinion, in the same category of flying cars. But it's Udacity to me is a very respectable, like amazing thing, and so it's pretty cool how much range he has.
Yeah, so all of us who create courses, we're just like these self-driving car guys, right?
We have to do the other half.
Range.
So usually range is like wide. His is almost like up and down.
Yeah, our barbell doesn't have the weight on the other side yet,
Yeah.
so it's a little awkward to hold. So we definitely have to go and do that. But that's pretty cool, though.
All right, mine came down to a coin flip between John Morgan and Jesse Cole. I went with Jesse Cole. So we did an episode with him on the podcast, and I was incredibly inspired by this guy. So he's done what I think is basically impossible. If somebody had told me that like 10 years ago, like, hey, there's going to be somebody who is going to make a minor league baseball team have, you know, more followers on social media than the Yankees, and by the way, and all other MLB teams combined. They're going to have like a 3 million person wait list and be selling out 80,000 person stadiums, and that he bootstrapped the business with his wife to, you know, 100 million plus. I just think that is playing business on like such hard mode. That is like the equivalent. If you're non-technical, that's the equivalent of rockets that land themselves. Is to take a minor league baseball team that nobody gives a shit about, in a league that nobody gives a shit about, with players that nobody's ever heard of, and turn it into this incredible entertainment thing. And the way he did it was just so like, I don't know, from the soul and passionate, right? Like there's a lot of creativity in the you know, being basically a modern day like P.T. Barnum. There was a lot of just like passion and soul to like the hustle to do this. Like, you know, he's on the pod, he's written 4 books behind him. They do a show every weekend, you know, like they're traveling the world. He's just doing everything. And it's just like, man, I would never, ever, ever be able to do something like that. And then the last thing was like, I don't know, he was just a sweetheart when he was on the pod. He was such a nice guy, so genuine. I think, Sam, you told me like they foster like kids as well. I was just like, geez, how good is this human being? And I just feel like we are lucky that there's somebody as kind of creative and such a like force of creativity and as this guy, like walking the earth. I think I even told him that on the pod. Like, I'm glad you are walking the earth, which I've never like felt the need to say to another man, but I did that day.
We used to joke and have this concept of like the total man, and it was like, what does it mean to be like a great man? And he is one of the maybe 3 people we've had in the podcast that I would go in that category where he's like, I was like, you are a very special human being, and you are the epitome of what it means to be a man.
We should have just been like, can you lift your shirt up? If you've got a visible ab, if you have visible abs, you are in the club, my friend. Like, that's the only thing that it's like the fitness side is the only other part of the Total Man franchise that we don't know about him yet.
I think that we've talked about this podcast on living a rich life, which means like there's business, there's family, there's having a good life, there's treating people wonderfully. I think that he is one of the richest people that we've ever had on the podcast in terms of a holistic rich life. He felt like a very special person. If you look through his Instagram, like he like pays tribute to his wife. He talks about his team. You see him like giving these inspirational talks to the players. I was just like, this guy's got no flaws. It was kind of intimidating.
The one little nugget that just kind of showed a lot was they don't charge. They eat the sales tax on ticket prices. So they're like, it's $25 for a ticket flat. And it's like, okay, so, but there's always tax plus tax. He's like, no. We pay that. We eat the cost of that. It's like at the scale that they operate at, that's just millions and millions a year, just so that the average customer, when they're checking out, feels like they were kind of taken care of versus, being stuck at two, and which is how, Ticketmaster and these other, things, Live Nation, like when you go buy from them, you just feel like you're just being, mugged basically at the checkout counter, right? It's like, oh, and then here's the service fee, convenience fee, parking fee, and this fee, and like it's now triple the cost. And I just thought like that little nugget of like how they don't just leave money on the table, but they put money back on the table, I thought told a lot about like, actions versus words. Everybody says they're customer friendly. Who actually does that? Very few people.
We talked to him. We were like, he made a comment where he was like, whatever you see that you've seen for predictions on how big our business is, it's much bigger. And so like, I thought that was really cool too. And he didn't even say it as a flex. I think we like teased it out of him. Yeah. But he didn't talk about numbers at all other than that one comment. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. All right, next category we'll do is we'll do the one we were about to do, which was what was the biggest personal
coolest moment in life?
Coolest moment.
I've got one. So Shaan organizes this thing where we go to Mr. Beast's house and or his town, and we like tour his property and play basketball with a bunch of successful people. Last year, he had someone that was like the 90th richest person in the world. He had all these powerful people. He had Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast was giving us a tour of his campus. So it felt like a movie studio, and all of these guys there were trying to kind of be cool a little bit and posture, and like Mr. Beast was saying the most ridiculous things that you could imagine. Like where you have this guy living in this home for one whole year and he can't leave the home until he loses 100 pounds. And he's like, I spent this much money on this studio and like, we're doing this. And he's just saying like ridiculous stuff. And everyone was trying to be cool. Like, yep, this is what it takes to be the best. Totally get it. Right. And Jesse Itzler, who was there, was in the back, and he was like, this is the craziest thing. He's like, why isn't anyone calling this guy out? This is the most ridiculous stuff I've ever seen. I can't believe this. How does one person live this way? This is just insane. And Jesse Itzler was like the most sane person there, which he wasn't like insulting Mr. Beast, but he was like, he was like a very reasonable person. And Jesse Itzler, I think him and his family are billionaires or near billionaires. He's very successful. And we've met, Shaan, a lot of people on the internet who appear a certain way. We've met them in real life, and there's oftentimes there's a gap. Or if you do meet them in real life, you think, I don't want to be like you. Jesse Itzler, it was one of the coolest moments in my life to meet that guy, because he was better than he appears on the internet, and he was very inspirational to me. I felt you are someone I aspired to be very similar to. And he was like, when he was there,
I totally agree, but I don't think you did it justice of like, he wasn't saying like, this is bad what Jimmy is doing.
Sorry, I don't.
Say the thing again about what actually stood out, because I don't think.
No, he wasn't saying it bad. He was like, he was like in awe, and he was like, can we acknowledge that this is just insane and ridiculous? Right. It's cool, but it's just like, this is insane. And then like there was a funny thing where Mr. Beast, like he parks his car like in front of the entrance of the building. Like he drives his car over the parking lot, and Jesse made fun of him. He's like, dude, there's an open spot right there. What are you doing? And I just thought it was funny that he was like A, teasing him, and B,
he didn't get swept up in it like the rest of us.
No, and it was so funny. And we were talking about some ridiculous stuff. Like we had a billionaire there who was talking about how aliens are real, and he knows this because he hangs out with like White House people. Like it was like pretty funny stuff.
Did you guys see that new documentary, by the way, about that topic
I've been wanting
in particular?
To watch this. Yeah, there's like a documentary. What is it called? Do you remember the name?
Let me pull it up.
When we were there, it was I don't know if I won't say who it was, but it was a very powerful person who goes, tomorrow you're going to see a news story about aliens. I know all about it, and they're real. Like he was talking about it.
Yeah, it's called The Age of Disclosure. I watched it. Yeah. Color me not fully convinced, but you should watch it.
Partially convinced.
Did you agree that Jesse Itzler was just the man?
Yeah. So my coolest moment's also a Jesse Itzler moment. We didn't plan this, but
No
Sam, I don't know if you know
way.
this. I was at his house yesterday. I flew to his house. I spent all yesterday with him, and my coolest moment has to do with that. So
What were you doing with him? Recording a podcast?
Sam's jealous.
you knew we were doing this.
Sam's coolest
You didn't
moment
wanna
was
travel.
meeting the guy, and you just
I
dunked
knew-
on him, being like, "I hung out with him yesterday."
Well, he did a talk in Manhattan just the other day, but I already had plans, so I didn't even get to go. So it just shows how much I really care. But no, he was.
So I just flew to his house, and so the coolest moment of the year. All right, so last year, this time last year, Jesse came on the podcast and he explained his New Year's planning process and philosophy, how he attacks the new year. And Sam, I don't know if you remember, but we were both pretty inspired by it. And one of his core concept is this concept of a misogi. So he says, the years fly by. If you ask me right now, what did you do in 2018? I don't know. I'd have to really think, how old was I? Where was I living? What was I doing? Whereas what he does is he picks a misogi, which is a Japanese ritual of a challenge, a hard year-defining thing. So you'll always remember, oh, that was the year I hiked, I hiked Everest. That was the year I did my first Ironman. That was the year I did XYZ. And he could tell you 2015, 2016, 2017, 2015, that's the year that David Goggins lived in my house and I trained with Goggins. 2016, that was the year I lived with the monks. 2017, that was the year I did my first whatever. And so after the pod, I was like pretty inspired. I was like, what am I going to do? And, Jesse's really adventurous. He's big into these like endurance races. That's never something I've been like drawn to. So I had the will, but I didn't have the idea. And that night, before I went to bed, I was on YouTube and I saw this recommended video of this. I don't even know why I clicked it. It was like this dude playing the piano. And it was this guy he's this Italian composer. He's basically the most famous piano player in the world at this point. He's like a modern day composer. And he was playing this song and he was playing a performance he did at the Steve Jobs Theater, which was like 10 minutes away from where I was at my sister's house, 10 minutes away from her house where I was that night. And I saw it and I was like, what if I did this year? Like, forget business, I was like, what if this was the year I learned, I can't dance, I can't sing, I've never played a musical instrument, like I don't have that innate talent. But like, what if that's a thing I picked up? What if I could just jam out on the piano? Specifically, what if I could play this song? And so, as you know, Sam, I've been practicing all year and
I love the Instagram stuff.
I've been learning to play. And but the one thing I didn't do was like the way Jesse's philosophy is that when you decide you're going to do something, you don't just make it a wish or a goal. You plan a date. It's like, I'm going to run this race on this day. I'm going to take my kids here on this day. It's on the calendar. It's a thing I'm working towards. So that was the one part I never did. I was like, I don't know, what am I going to do? A piano recital? Like, I'm not like 7 years old. I don't know what to do. So yesterday I'm at his house and he's giving us a tour and I'm there to do a podcast with him, another annual planning thing. And we're walking by. He's like, oh, this is my favorite thing in the house. This is a piano my mother gave me before she died. And I was like, do you play? He's like, no, nobody's ever played this piano. Like, since we got it, it's here, but I love it. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, this might be the perfect thing. Like, that was my misogi last year when we did our annual planning. We're doing it this year. He doesn't know that he kind of triggered me to actually like go do something. So I was like, I'm going to do this. So when we were talking about it, I go, can I show you my misogi? And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, let's walk over here. And so we go and I play this song. Now, I'm playing
Did
this
you
song.
sing?
No, it's not a singing thing. It's just a piano song. I'm playing this song, and just the context here is like I've been playing this every day in my house. I play upstairs in my room, and honestly, like nobody particularly gives a fuck. Like my wife is like, "Good for you, but can you come help with dinner?" Like she's like in the middle of 3 little kids. Like, it's not like I'm getting a pat on the back for this thing. My kids don't really care about classical piano music. My wife doesn't really care. I have never really played for anybody else, and so. This is my first time ever playing for anybody. And I turned when I was done and it was like the craziest thing. So Jesse's there, he's crying. His head of strategy is there, she's crying, holding the phone. Sarah, his wife, who I'd never met, she's the founder of Spanx, had come downstairs because she heard somebody playing the piano. She's like weeping. We have this, it's gonna be crazy. It's all on camera too. I happen to have a camera guy there because we're recording the podcast. So basically like there's this full circle moment of Last year he planted the seed. I worked hard on it all year. Nope, there was no real like payoff for it. There's no like purpose for doing it. I just wanted to do it. And then there was like this amazing payoff moment where they actually gave a shit about like what I was doing, and they like appreciated. They were like, "That was amazing," and I had never felt that like ever. And so it was for me. It was not only the coolest moment of the year. It's one of the coolest moments of my life. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm a little embarrassed to say it, but it really was this like incredible like high. This and it was totally serendipitous. I didn't plan for any
What
of
was
that
the
to happen.
song?
It's this song called, I don't even know how you say it properly. It's like Italian, but it's Nouveau Bianchi. I don't know how you spell this. It's pronounce the second word, but I'll put it in the description or
Dude,
whatever.
that's
But
awesome.
it's this great song. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why everyone's crying. I don't know what's going on, but like, I feel like my parking pass just got extremely validated just now. Thank you guys for that.
That
What
is
it-
so cool.
What did they say afterwards?
Dude, he couldn't even continue the pod for like 20. He's like, dude, I'm blown away. He's like, I need like a minute. And he was like, that is so cool. He's like, you're 37 years old. You pick up an instrument. Like, you can do that in a year. He's like, if you could do that in a year, and his son had come down to listen while we were doing it. And he's like, I'm just so happy my son saw and heard that, because I hope it planted a seed with him of like, yo, if he can do that in 11 months or whatever, like, dude, you could do anything. Like, anything is on the table for you. And he was just like very inspired by it. And I was like, here's a guy who I admire. Like, you and I have both talked about this. Like, he's our kind of like entrepreneurial North Star, like a guy who lives a life well lived all around, 4 kids, beautiful relationship with his wife, does all these adventurous trips with his friends. He's in great shape. He runs 100-mile marathons. He's had incredible business success. He's a great, content creator. He's just a prolific guy. He's built brands like Zico coconut water and sold a company to Warren Buffett. It's like, what more do you want out of life, right? Like, this guy's he's played a game in a way that I would love to have played the game of life. And so to kind of get like that moment with somebody who I kind of admire, that was definitely my coolest moment of the year.
That's really great. That's a very
Yeah,
touching
Shaan,
story.
I gotta say, when I first saw that you were learning piano, I thought that was the coolest thing I had ever heard about you. So I think there's something, no, genuinely, like, that's not to dismiss any of the other stuff, but I was just like, when you're a creator online, as we talked about earlier, people make these assumptions about you. They kind of sometimes dictate what is in your orbit. And for you to be like, no, this is something I want to learn. I might not even be sure exactly why, but I'm going to go do it. It's not what people expect. And then to do what you just did. Like, I actually think that is so cool.
Yeah, I commented on this podcast. I was like, all this business stuff is great, but the piano thing, it's for some reason oddly inspiring.
Well, the funny thing is, like, in the moment, it never feels that way, right? Because like, I'm walking out of my piano teacher's class. It's like, all right, Brandon, good luck, buddy. There's only 7-year-olds there. Their parents are there. They're looking around like, where's your kid? I'm like, no, it was me. Like, I was the one getting the piano lesson. And it's just like kind of an odd thing to be doing, pretty regularly. But, again, trusted my gut, went with it, just like leaned into it. It's like, all right, I'm having fun. So I'm not forcing myself to do something I don't want to do. Why does everything have to be like with an agenda? And, this kind of like validated, like, yeah, just keep doing that. Good things do happen as you keep doing that. Don't worry. Like, you'll also get the rewards you seek in life, even when you're doing the stuff that seems like it has, no rewards. You're just doing it because you like it.
Next podcast, I want to know all of what it was about hanging out with him.
Yeah, we'll do.
What
Steph.
about you, Steph?
By the way, there's a bunch of people in the chat who don't think we're live. We're live for sure. So keep posting your messages. But my coolest moment, I was in between two. I did a big trip to Africa, and if you haven't done gorilla trekking, it is one of the most incredible things I've ever done.
Gorilla trekking? What did you say?
Trekking.
Tracking.
Yes. Tracking. You do both. Basically,
Are you
there
tracking
are
down a gorilla, or are you doing something? You're
there's
trekking.
families of gorillas that live. We did it in Rwanda. They have it in Uganda. Not many countries other than that, and they're wild. So every night, what does that say?
This was the date. We are live. There's people in the chat who think this is fake. No, we're live.
So yeah, they live in the wild and they move every night. So they have these trackers who go out every day and try to locate them, and then you trek through the rainforest. Truly, like there's mud up to your knees. at points and
Where
try
did
to
you
find
do it?
them.
Which place?
In Rwanda.
Wow.
But super cool experience. But my actual answer is going to see the World Series with my dad. He's been a Blue Jays fan since
pretty sick.
before I was born. The last time they won the World Series was in 93. They had a double year, 92, 93. And then I was born and ruined it all. And so he kind of makes fun of me for that every year and is like also the person who goes and is like, is their year, it's their year. They made these trades, watches every game, 160 plus. And he's also where I get every ounce of my cheapness from. And so he would never, ever buy tickets for himself.
Right.
And so, once they hit the World Series, I flew home, bought him tickets for Game 6 when they had their first chance to win, didn't win. Then YOLO'd it for Game 7, totally worth it. Like, can't really think of a better way.
Oh, you did 2
to
in a
spend
row.
my
That's
money.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they had won either
Yeah,
of
so
them
close,
because
too.
they lost. But yeah.
That's amazing. That's a great thing to do. That's a really great thing to do. I could see why all NBA players, like, their first thing is like, I bought my mama a house. It's like, I think there's probably like very few things you could do that will like, feel as good as like taking your dad or your mom to like, to do something that they would love to do, they'd never do for themselves.
Yeah.
And like, get to do that with them when you're a grown up.
Exactly.
Do you guys want to combine frame breaking person and favorite guest?
Okay. What you got?
So, do you have a favorite guest?
Well, let's explain what frame breaking is.
Dude, go for it.
Okay, so me and Sam use this term a lot. Frame breaking, everybody walks around with some frame, and frame is like a border, right? And everything that's inside the border is what you sort of, I'm used to that. I've seen that. I expect that. That's what's in the picture. That's how wide my lens goes. And then occasionally you'll meet these people who will just completely break your frame. And it's like, oh, I didn't, it's like, imagine a painting where somebody just starts drawing past the frame onto the wall. You're like, what? You can't go out there. And so this is maybe somebody with like extreme ambition, or they live life to the fullest in this way that you don't really do, or they're really, really intentional about their time, or, there's these things that people do that you thought you knew what level 10 looked like in that category. And then you realize, oh, what I thought was a 10 is a 7. And now I know what a 10 looks like. I actually, like, somebody's broken my frame. They've turned the volume knob up further than I thought it could go in that aspect of their life. So that's the setup. Who is your frame breaking person?
So there's this Aristotle quote that I've been thinking about for like a year now. I think last time when we did this, I was saying I was trying to use my phone less. And there's Aristotle quote. It says, excellence is never an accident. It's always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. And the reason I think about that all the time is because I don't know about you guys, but like if I'm on a Zoom meeting, I'm probably browsing the internet. If I'm watching TV, I probably have my phone up and I'm doing something. Like there's this constant pattern of interruption and never focusing on something. And it's kind of been tearing me apart. It's kind of making me gone mad. And so I've been working so hard on being intentional about my attention and focusing on excellence, but in a very few amount of things. So just picking a couple things and being great. And we had this guy, I don't think you were here, Shaan, but we had this guy named Will Guidara who wrote this book called Unreasonable Hospitality. And the story is, if you guys have seen The Bear, it's one of the inspirations for The Bear, the TV show. But basically the story is that he owned this very famous restaurant in New York called 11 Madison. And they are famous for going above and beyond. For example, someone was trapped.
The top-rated restaurant in the country, or what's like the claim to fame, right? Like
it was the top-rated restaurant in the country, in part because the food was special. It was a Michelin star place, so it was like fancy. But the other part was that they were known for being unreasonably hospitable. So I'll give you an example. They had this couple or family from Europe come to the restaurant that they had planned for months to attend. And Will or a waiter overheard them say, "We're leaving tomorrow, but the one thing we didn't get to experience was a New York street hot dog." And so Will has this guy at his company who they called him the Dream Weaver. And his only job was to make dreams come true to their customers. And so this guy ran outside and he bought a street hot dog or a couple of them, and they chopped them up and put like a cute garnish on it. So it sort of looked like it was a fancy restaurant food, but it was actually a street hot dog. And they said, "We heard you talk about you wanting a hot dog. Here you go. Your dreams have become a reality." And that's rooted in like unreasonable hospitality, but the reality is it's about being excellent. And he gave this amazing spiel, and it's crazy. This did not, I think this hit on Spotify, but it did not hit on YouTube. But this was the best podcast I'd ever recorded based just of what he told me of the idea of he was like, we are going to go above and beyond and we are going to be excellent. And I found that to be kind of overfilling my cup, not just in the business category, but in life, of just pursuing excellence for the sake of just trying to be great at a couple things. And I found that to be a very inspirational book, and I find him to be a very inspirational person, and he kind of broke my frame.
That was awesome. That was an awesome rant and summary of it too. I love that.
Thank you. It was
That,
awesome.
that scene in The Bear is the best. They recreated that idea in The Bear, and it was like peak television.
It was the best. And then my favorite guest, sleeper of a guest, Shaan Frank. So Shaan Frank's this guy who's the CEO of Ridge Wallet, which is a popular wallet company. This guy's so funny and so interesting, Shaan, because he's kind of like you and I, like he's silly and everything, but his silliness is, I think he's actually a very serious person. And I found this blog that he wrote last year. Listen to this. He said, "My goal is to sell Ridge for $1 billion in the next 3 years. I have to time it right because we're coming out of a bubble and interest rates are going to go up and then they're going to come back down, hopefully by 2025. And then by 2026 or 27, I'm going to sell this company." And I just thought it was hilarious that this guy like called his shot like that. And if you listen to the podcast that we had with him, he was a very direct person. And I find that to be incredibly refreshing. So I think Shaan Frank was my favorite guest.
He's a great follow on Twitter as well.
Dude, he's like a wholesome guy, but he's very blunt. And I find that to be a very cool combination.
Yeah, he's funny.
So that's my favorite guest and my favorite frame breaking people. How about you?
Steph, you want to go next or?
Sure. Have you guys heard of Fiona Oakes?
No, who is that?
Frame breaking person. Okay, so I discovered her because I've gotten into running lately and I watched this documentary.
Spell her name?
Fiona Oakes, Oakes. This documentary was about her. It's called Running for Good, the Fiona Oakes documentary. Okay, so get this. She has been a vegan since she was 6. She lost her kneecap at age 17 due to an injury and medical complications. Yet, she is this crazy marathon woman. She lives in some like farm area in England. She just runs a crazy number of miles. Doctors to other patients who have lost their kneecaps are like, you can't even walk downhill. She's running these marathons. She has multiple world records. And the craziest part is she does all of this because she just loves animals so much. She didn't grow up running and like, enter competitions. She wasn't on cross country. She just one day realized, oh, I'm pretty fast. And then started entering marathons to win money so that she could go fund her farm business and take care of her animals better. So this woman was just like the most frame breaking because I'm just like, who is this? And how is she running 2:48 marathons? That's like 6:24 minutes per mile. And she just does it like no one knows who she is until, someone discovered her and they're making documentaries about her. But she just the craziest combination of things. And she's just like, she's a world record holder.
She ran marathons before she lost her kneecap also, or she started this hobby after?
I don't know how much running she was doing before the kneecap, but all of the records, all of the
lost
marathon
the knee
wins
at the age of 16.
Post kneecap.
And she's 56 now, and she's doing this shit. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. It's crazy. The documentary is funny too because they start out and they don't share any of her times. They're kind of hyping her up and you see her, she looks kind of old and you're like, okay, sure, like she might be fast for a 50-year-old, but she's not, no way she can be that fast. And then you actually look up her times and you're like, holy shit, this woman is a legend.
I don't know how these guys run so much. The more I run, the more hurt I get.
Well, she doesn't have the kneecap. That's the trick. Are you not willing?
Dude, remember that guy with the fake legs who ran the 400 meter in the Olympics?
Yes.
Oscar.
legal?
Yeah.
He
Oscar
also went to jail for like killing his
Yeah, he killed his wife. Yeah. I always thought that was nonsense. Why do these
Broke a
guys?
frame or two.
Well, yeah. Like, why do they get to be in the Olympics? Like, they don't have
Was it
any.
the normal Olympics or the
Yes, he was in the normal Olympics, which is nonsense. He doesn't have any like legs that can get full of lactic acid. They're like metal legs. Like, why does he get to go? Like, you know what I mean? It seems ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I'm enraged.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Fiona Oakes. What's the documentary called?
It is called Running for Good, the Fiona Oakes documentary. Really
Did you have a
title.
favorite guest also, or do you want to just use her for both?
No, I've got a favorite guest. You mentioned him before, so maybe he's your favorite guest. He's recent, John Morgan. I listened to a bunch of the episodes, and there were people like there was the Exploding Kittens guy, there was Eric Ryan, there was Shield, like all of those people I went into the episode expecting to like. I went into this episode expecting to not like John Morgan.
Right.
And he just was incredible. The number of businesses that he's gone into, whether it's his attraction stuff, apartments, ad agency, tech company, is insane. But it was his one-liners that I was just like, dude, this guy simplifies all of this like shit that us tech company people overcomplicate into just the best lines. He's like, I don't hunt deer, I hunt money. When he's talking about his URL, he's like, I went for
Justice for all.
Yeah, he was like, basically, I was worried people couldn't spell justice. So yeah, he went with for the people. He also like had this line where he's like, I'm good at sharing the profits. And I was like, you know what? There's actually something to that. Like, so many people are so bad at spreading the wealth. And he's just like, look, I treat my people good. You know, I share the profits.
Yeah.
Bullets
So he
before
got
bombs, crazy number.
He got on, and Shaan and I think, I don't know who booked him, but we didn't know, I don't think we entirely knew what we were getting into because he's on this tour, but like there wasn't a lot of information about him. And I don't think we knew what we were getting into. I know I was going into it like, we'll see. The first sentence, he goes, I got these attractions, this upside down museum. And he goes, and let me tell you, it fucking prints money.
Like, he didn't say money. They fucking print.
Yeah, he goes, it fucking prints. He said the F word so hard, and we don't say the F word really on this show. And we both, like, eyes went open, and we were like, buckle up, baby. We are going on a roller coaster. This was something. And there was 20 lines, and I showed it to my dad because Morgan & Morgan, I think, they have an office in Missouri, so that's where the commercials. And he was like, you can't air this. This is going to ruin this guy's reputation. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think he knows what he was doing because I showed him, he said the F word literally 15 times. Another time he goes, do you know why we win? Our competitors, they're lawyers, they're shit. And like, and then he goes, and then when we win, we go into a case and they don't want to settle. But 6 weeks in, they see how serious they are and they want to settle. And I go, fuck you. And and I take them for everything they're worth. Like, he was a very vulgar guy. But
If I was like a Netflix showrunner, I'd just be like, I need to follow him around because I'm going to build like, Ari Gold like characters around, this guy's personality and the way he rolls.
And we go, why are you doing this? He goes, because it's good for business.
Yeah.
I also love that he's not, he built a tech company, but he's not in our tech world. So he'd be like, I was on the Business Insider. Or he'd be like, Shaan, are you aware of this thing called first principles thinking? And I was like, this guy's a G.
He said, my whole thesis was, what would Google do? So that was awesome. Shaan, what about yours?
Yeah, he was amazing. Also, I would say one other thing about him, which is I had this opinion, I don't know from where it came from, but just my default, never even thought about it again, was personal injury lawyers, sleazy ambulance chaser, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, wait a minute. So what's his actual story? His brother gets basically paralyzed on the job, has poor representation. He gets mad about that, decides I'm going to go to law school, become a personal injury lawyer to fight for that. And it's like, wait, yes, it's basically people who are, you're fighting for the common man against large corporations for the most part. And it's like, I wonder why this isn't seen as a more noble profession. Like, obviously there's aspects to it. I get why it gets that bad rep, but like, I don't know. I think it's over. I think the public opinion is far overrated on negativity towards this profession in this way.
I totally agree, man. Have you ever known someone who got hurt at work and you're like, this is a travesty. These insurance companies should be paying you this much more. Like, there's nothing you could do. You know, have you ever gotten in a car? I've been like a car, my car got messed up and I was like, this car is worth way more than you guys are telling me, but I just got to take it. Now imagine if this was like your mom who got hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think most of his cases are against companies like insurance companies, right? So it's a little weird that they have that reputation. All right, I have a frame-breaking person that you guys probably don't know. Her name is Kristen Berman. And Kristen is somebody I met at an event. I went to one of that's I lied. I did go to one event this year. I went to the Dialogue conference. And honestly, didn't love the conference overall, but there was one conversation I thought was really great. and it was this conversation where Kristen was there. She is partners with Dan Ariely. So if you've ever read the book Predictably Irrational, he's like one of the famous behavioral economists in the world.
Like
She
like
runs.
business partners or like married?
They run Irrational Labs, which I think is like a consulting. So companies come to them, and like Panda Express will come to them and be like, "Hey, we want to provide healthy options, but like, how do we frame this in a way that will be like, people make the choices that they want, or how do we get people to choose to insulate? How do we get people to choose to insulate their water heater because it's good for the environment, it'll save the money, but we can't seem to get them to do it. What are ways we could do that?" So they'll go to them and try to say, "You guys understand how people's consumers' brains works. What are ways to do this?" So, anyways, she's telling this story, and the reason it's a frame-breaking story is she made some money. So let's just, I don't know, I'll just make up some numbers, but she made a couple $1 million, let's say. And at the time, her and her husband, and I think maybe kid, but her and her husband were living in, let's call it a two-bedroom, like a two-bed, apartment. And what everybody I know does is you make money and then you upgrade your lifestyle. So you go from a 2-bed to a 3-bed to a 4-bed to a 5-bed, whatever. And then soon you're at Sam, you talked about like a 17,000 square foot mansion. And the more you keep going. And that's how they use their money to improve their life. She, being a behavioral economist, had a very different perspective. And it was not out of like trying to be a good person or do something different. She was just like, well, this is what the data tells us matters. And so she was like, what she did was she kept the same apartment she was in, but she bought the 3 or 4 units right around her and created a basic compound, and then invited people who they really liked. So, people that they basically built their own little micro community. So it's like, who would be an amazing neighbor with us?
Like she rented it at
she would rent it out to them for below market rent.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just, it didn't even matter. We're not trying to make a rental property and get this cash flow. I'm not trying to upgrade my own lifestyle, live in this baller place. No, like basically the data says that like the people you have around you, your close-knit community is the number one thing that will improve your happiness. So we did that. So we bought these other units. We now have people, like kind of like who are friends or friends adjacent, like apply to come in. We're really rigorous about who gets in. And then when they're in, they're a part of our life, like we see them all the time, and it's been amazing. And she wasn't even really like preaching about this, but I was kind of like, wait a minute, like that sounds simple to do. I don't know anyone who's done that. Like, do you know anybody? We know a lot of rich people. Do you know anybody who's actually done that?
Well, I kind of did that. Me and Neville bought homes together.
Bro, you moved away.
I moved away.
Opposite of doing that.
I moved away to be closer to family, but I will say we were intentional about it, and it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, you might be the only person I know who's also kind of like been like, I'm going to live on the same block as this person, and that's more important than getting the bathrooms with the marble and the way we want, how most people I think pick and choose what they're going to do. In fact, most people I know who make money, they isolate themselves. They move into more private communities, bigger and bigger places with bigger and bigger lots. And they basically like create a pocket of loneliness because maybe their family can't afford to live right next to them,
right,
or their friends aren't also in the same, either category or looking to move at the same time. And they move into a place where other people are used to not talking to each other. And it's like isolationist. So I just thought this was amazing. It kind of broke my frame, but it was very inspiring because as much as I'm inspired to learn how to make money, I think Morgan Housel said it best. Like, you can either use money in one of 2 ways. Number one, as a tool to improve your life, or number 2, as a measuring stick to measure your self-worth. And it's so easy to get caught in the money as a measuring stick thing, but money as a tool to improve your life, that means you got to learn how to spend it just as much as you got to learn how to make it. And so this was an example of like how to actually spend money to improve the quality of your life.
We should have her on. This sounds great.
Yeah, we totally should. She was awesome.
That's cool. That's a great one. I'd never heard of this person. That sounds badass. Does she have a book or anything? Or is her?
Well, I think
Dan is
Predictably
like
Irrational was kind of like part of their thing. I don't know too much, but yeah, let's have her on. She's gonna be great.
And what's your favorite guest?
Favorite guest was Nick Mowbray. So this is basically the closest person to Elon Musk that I've ever met. Not like closest as in like friends, but like closest like, oh wow, you're basically like Elon. He just, and Elon was born in South Africa. This guy's in New Zealand, and he went into the toy industry. And if you haven't heard it, the pod he did, he does very few podcasts. I think when I was doing research, it was like one interview from like 15 years ago. It was the only thing I could find. And it took like 30 emails to get him to come on, and he was amazing. Such a good dude, and his story is like a movie. Literally like sleeping in a bush, in China trying to make it happen. Like it was just unbelievable. Like the sort of sleeping on the factory floor mentality, the level of grit, living off $1 a day until they made it. And now, the brothers are the wealthiest men in New Zealand. They're self-made billionaires, own the whole thing. Not only built one of the biggest probably a top 3 toy company in the world sitting in New Zealand, but also built a top 3 diaper company, also built a top shampoo company. Like this guy is insane. Like, he was saying how when he got that living off $1 a day in China, eating McDonald's, like kind of off the dollar menu type of thing, got, caught up to him, and he had to get his small intestine removed or something. And he's like, when I was in recovery, sitting in the hospital, I decided I was watching TikTok, and I decided I'm going to build one of the biggest brands on TikTok. And he built the biggest diaper brand as a side quest using TikTok. And I'm like, this guy is an animal, to the point where after the pod, I don't think we caught this on the pod, but he said something I asked him, I was like, dude, you're like Elon. Have you ever met Elon? He's like, no, I've never met. I would love to have met him. He's like, at one point, me and my brother, we were the largest shareholders in the world of Tesla stock. He's like, I'm a big fan. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I think they own I forgot he said 1% or 4% of Tesla. Just personally, they owned it. And he's like, yeah, but then when COVID hit and the world stopped and the factories had to shut down, we didn't know. We had such a huge position. We reduced during that time. He's like, huge mistake. We left $15 billion on the table by not holding for the next 5 years. And he's like, but to the point where his brother flew to California and installed cameras on buildings that had an angle at the Fremont factory, because they were like, this is such a huge position, we should monitor the factory production. And I was like, this is the most high agency person I've ever met in my life. I was very, very inspired by Nick Mowbray.
It says on Wikipedia that they're worth collectively $20 billion. I didn't realize. I thought that he was a billionaire, like $1 billion. That's incredible.
No. And now they're 3D printing houses. They're doing crazy stuff.
And the base is just the toy company? That was the foundation of the wealth?
Yeah.
That is so insane. When you hear these people who have side quests that are orders of magnitude bigger and better than anything you've ever built. Yeah, it's wow.
Wow, that was awesome. I knew the story, but I didn't realize how successful they were. That's really amazing. Okay, we probably only have a couple more that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Do you want to do? Which one
do
do you want to do?
Biggest change
hack?
you're making, and then the meme of the year, maybe?
Well, yeah, what's yours? What's your biggest change?
All right, so after hanging out with Jesse, I was like, what's my new Misogi going to be? And we were both talking about, he's written a lot of books, but he was like, dude, honestly, he's like, I feel bad. He's like, I don't read that many books. He's like, I don't even read 5 books in a year. He's like, I can't believe it. It's something I really feel like I should change. And I was thinking about this. I've thought about it very similarly. And I was like, you know what? All right. And so I was like, took my phone and I just deleted X, deleted Twitter, deleted YouTube, deleted Reddit. And I was basically like, I think I can give myself back 10 to 15 hours a week of time and mind space. And I'm just going to not consume any social this year. I'm just going to get off social completely. I'll still post. I'll have my team post stuff. I can create for social. I just can't consume. And I'm going to, I call this the Luka Doncic trade. It's like, what if I could get the best thing back, and which would be reading some of the best books of all time, and I'll give up some crappy assets. I'll give up, some problem riddled assets, all these different social media apps. And so that's my trade I'm making for this year.
Damn. When did you make the change? Delete the apps?
On the flight back.
So
Yesterday.
how many days ago?
Yesterday.
I was like, how's it going so
I
far?
changed
Too
for next
early.
year. Yeah.
Okay.
But I started early. It's not next
Shawn's
year.
like, I used to use social media just like you guys yesterday. I know exactly how you feel.
Oh, I can't wait to look down upon people who use social media. Imagine how self-righteous I can be.
That's a great move. Last year I used the Brick for it, or I think it's called Brick or the Brick. It was really helpful. And I don't have social media on my phone, but I do use it on my computer, which is not good either. But that's a good move.
Yeah. You already do this. You read 25 books a year, and I think you're very
I read a lot of books lately.
Putting your phone in a box. I think you're very self-actualized in that, whereas I'm still the mouse or the rat, pushing the pedal, trying to get a pellet of cocaine out of the thing.
Having a second kid has reduced my reading to close to nothing because like I get up extra early and I go to bed and I'm like
That makes me feel better.
I have to go to sleep. No, so I haven't read a full book in months. It's like I'll get through something and I'm like, it's taken me a month to read this thing because I basically have to get up at 6 and I'm like at 10 I have to go to sleep. I'm so exhausted. So yeah, having kids has basically ruined a second kid has ruined my reading. What are we doing? Habit or change?
Change for next year.
You're not going to see this, Shaan, but lately I've been going a lot harder on Instagram, and Hampton is going to be, we have this like YouTube channel called MoneyWise, and we're going to rebrand it and call it Hampton. And we just rented a new office down the street from my current office, and it has seats for 60 people and a big studio. So I'll be recording this from that new studio, and we're going to be creating a new YouTube channel, and I'm going to be doing a lot more Instagram content. And I feel like the other day I did a video and I was like recording, and I'm like, so I talk about this on my page. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like such like a boomer. I can't believe I just said that. But I'm going to be going a lot harder on content, and it's going to start with me writing.
Are you doing this to grow Hampton, or are you doing this because you're like, I want to be influential, or I love creating content? What's the true why on this one?
Well, I started my career because I enjoyed creating content. And then when it became a little bit of a job, I disliked it as much. And so I put it away for a while. And then I was like, look, the best way to grow my company is just to do this thing. And I started like doing it as a job. And lately I've been doing it. And I'm like, I love this. I love writing and figuring this out. And so I've been doing this stuff on Instagram now for only about 3 or 4 weeks. And I've got millions of views. And I'm like, this is actually a fun little game to figure out. And I enjoy, like, can I grow Hampton via content that isn't slop? And I've enjoyed that. So that's my big change this year. Another simple change is I've been doing it the past month to prepare for the new year. I get my workout. My workout is finished at 7 a.m. I'm done by 7 a.m. And I know that, again, we're doing like self-righteous stuff here, but I hate getting up early, but I love having gotten up early. And it's been a huge difference in just my time.
Yeah, Saul Hill had this great quote. He's like, I don't know any loser who wakes up at 5 a.m. to work out. And it's like, that's kind of true, right? Like, have you ever met a loser who does that? Like,
no, like being at the gym at 6 a.m. and done at 7 a.m., you're like, it feels amazing. And it's so hard to do, though.
Do you think you can sustain that one?
Well, I have to, because it's my job to my eldest kid. I get her out of bed at 7:30. So if I'm going to exercise, it has to be done by 7 or 7:10. And so I've been doing it now for 30 days, and I think I can say, you know, the secret is very dumb. The secret is you have to go to bed at 10.
Yeah.
If you're in bed by 10, this is easy. That's challenging to do, but you have to be in bed by 10.
Right. Steph,
Every time I wake up at 5 a.m., I'm like, this is amazing. I get so much done. Like, why don't I do this every day? And then, you know, a year later, it happens again. My biggest change is maybe kids. We'll see. I'm feeling nervous about it. Do you guys have any
Is this an announcement?
advice?
Are you announcing?
No.
Carefully.
Sam, are you going to ask me if I'm pregnant?
Are you pregnant, Steph?
No, to be clear, I am not currently pregnant. We have not started trying, but it's on the radar.
Do you want us to give you
tips?
Like tips, like how to be a pregnant woman?
No, not tips. More like what do you feel great about with kids? What makes you like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, especially when you're a woman, you have to like actually, you know, grow the kid, and then you have to like provide for the kid for the first few years in ways that men don't. It's a little daunting, but I love hearing from both men and women like the best parts of having kids, because I feel like I don't hear those enough.
Shaan, how do you talk about this without saying the most cheesy
That's
advice?
the problem. It's every cliche, everything you've already heard, but it's actually true. So that's why it's hard to, you know, it's like you feel lame even saying it, because it's so obvious to you when you're in it that, like, you know, there, like, whatever I thought life was before this was just like, you know, pregame material for the real game. And that's kind of how it feels in many ways, like level of intensity, level of like, you know, like love, like all like a sense of purpose, like. But I would say, like, the good thing about little kids, because me and Sam both have little kids. Sam's are a little younger than mine, so he might not even be fully in this phase yet. But
yeah,
like,
my eldest is 2.
by the time your kids are kind of like 3, 4, they're talking, they're walking, they're like, they have a personality, like it's a whole deal. And they're just like a little joy machine. So imagine having like a jukebox in your house, and every time you go, you push the button, and like your mood lifts. And the reason why is because kids are experiencing everything for the first time. So you get to experience everything for the first time, with them being the excuse for you to like actually indulge it and actually care, and be like your own version of like a little kid. And then there's also like these incredibly satisfying moments, because it's like they are, like whatever you feel about like building a company or building a product. The truth is, like, the ultimate product is this little kid you made, and you get to shape it, and you get to see it grow, and you get to see like all the amazing things happen. So take any of the feelings you've had out of like entrepreneurship or creativity or creating, and now like add some like 3,000 years of biological, hardwiring to love all those aspects, at a much higher level.
At this stage, when I see like Instagram stuff of like the dad coming home from the military and hugging the kid or whatever, like things like that, I cry. I get so like emotional by it. I put my eldest to bed at night, and like she lays on my stomach, and I'm like, this is, like you ever think about like when your parents die, like how, like if they go to heaven, or if like you like think about them, like what age will you remember them? And with my little girl, every night I'm like, this is perfect. I will remember this for forever. And it's so important to be present, because I was like, when I feel her stomach on my chest, I'm like, this is peak happiness. I have never felt this good, and I get to experience it every single day. And it's very special. I think that for a lot of men, you don't love your kid right away, and it takes a little warming up to. And I'm at the phase of my life now where I'm like, I say this as a joke, but it's sort of real, where I was like, when I got married, I felt like I'll kill someone to protect you. And then when I had a kid, it was like, I will die for you. Yeah. And that's a very like weird way to think of it, but it is so fun to be like, or not, I don't know, fun. It feels so great to just know I'm willing to dedicate everything I can to this thing. And it feels really good to feel that way.
And the downside and the upside are both the same. The downside is like, oh my God, this is a lot of work, and I don't have control over my time or my schedule the way I used to. And for people like us who are like, wow, there's always more projects I want to do and things I want to learn and stuff I want to go do. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't get to, like I don't get to do that. It's not my schedule anymore. That's the worst part of it, for me at least. Like unless like there's like a health issue or whatever, like that's the worst part of it on just like normal life. But also the best part of it is like, it's not about you anymore. It's like actually all the problems in your life, all the bad feelings you had was like just an over importance of the self. And so the thing with kids that's great is like, it's about them now. And so you get like the highs from that, but you don't really get the same amount of lows, because you don't have that sort of self rumination, self like indulgence of like all the little things that bother you in your world, because it's really not about you anymore,
Totally. Yeah, I had a friend who had a kid recently, and I visited her, and she was just like, your emotional spectrum is just stretched, but in the most beautiful ways, because you're responsible for this being. When she was like walking out with her kids for the first time, she was like, I've never felt more stressed, because I just saw all the things that could, maybe harm my child. But at the same time, like you're saying, it's more of like it's like a new set of emotions. It's maybe not as self-centered. It's just like a more interesting aspect of life that like if you don't have kids you're never going to get to experience, is my sense. I haven't had them, but like I find that
a good way of putting it. Like, oh, there's like 3 new colors you didn't know about. There's like this whole other thing you get to see. Okay,
and I hate saying that. I agree with you. I hate saying that, because when people don't have children, it's like not a reversible decision. So I don't ever want to make someone feel bad, and so I don't love talking about that. But I do feel like it's sort of like the first time I've ever felt like my purpose in life is being fulfilled. Like you think that way about work sometimes, and then we had it, and I hate being high and mighty and shit, but you like have a kid and you're like, oh, this is because this is why I've tried to impress a girl, and so she would like me, and then I could reproduce with her, and now I have this thing, and it's like I am now connected to the 50 billion people before me, and it feels kind of special. It feels very strange, but it's special.
Yeah, it is hard to talk about, because it's just you feel lame and cheesy, and you don't want to, like, it's just your personal experience. You don't want to influence others, but like when you ask, you're like, like I think I want it. I'm kind of on the fence. I want to hear about it. Then like, okay, permission to cheese.
Well, thank you, and sorry for forcing you guys to do that. Someone in the chat was like, well, this just got serious, so we can move on.
Well, we'll end on a light note. We have favorite tweet / meme of the year. What do you have? Let's start with Steph.
Guys, mine is boring, but I just loved the "May I Meet You" meme. It was so good. It was so good. Like, what is this activist investor doing, giving dating advice, and just the
Can you give us the play-by-play?
versatility.
You, as a woman who's also in business and tech, you get on Twitter, you see this happening. What was going through your mind? Give me the
I
give me
just
the
thought it-
cycle you went through.
I thought it was truly hilarious because I think also, I don't know, like as a woman, there's so many times when like men think that they know what women want. And like, I'm sure Bill Ackman is a catch. Like, I'm sure he's also like 6
Don't
plus
hedge.
feet, right? Like, he's got a bunch of money
Baby
and
blue
like,
eyes, $1
you know,
billion.
he's going up to these women saying like, "May I meet you?" And he's gathering that that is what is, you know, the defining action that the women are liking. But I don't know. I just thought it was so funny because of the memes that came from that. Like,
Do you get
all
hit
of
on a
the-
lot, Steph, like in work events?
Not too explicitly. I mean,
But
if you kind of-
maybe occasionally.
occasionally. But I think I've been able to stay. I don't know if it's just my vibe, if I'm like not that much of a catch, but
Well,
I've
I just
definitely heard.
no. it's
I'm
not that.
no, I'm saying like
I
I've
just-
heard many women who have it way worse, where like basically anywhere they go, you know, they just can't live normally.
That's crazy.
Steph, so you saw that advice. What would your advice have been? If Bill Ackman, he meant well, right? He was like, I heard that it's tough out there for young guys. Here's a little bit of advice. If "May I Meet You" was wrong, what's the right advice?
I feel like, well, I mean, he's right that you just gotta approach a girl, right? Because girls like confidence, but I also think girls like humor and like you knowing, you being authentic. And so even just going up to a girl and just being like, "Hey, like, I'm really nervous, but like, I gotta talk to you." This is like not the best pickup line, but I just feel like you just walking up to a girl is like what probably 9 out of 10 guys will not do. If you happen to say "May I meet you," it's probably fine, but I don't know. Just be natural.
Shaan, are you sharing right now? Is that your screen?
No, that's not me. But I forgot what it is. But Lil Dicky has one that's great. I wish I had this back when I was single. It would have helped me. But he's like, "Oh, I have the perfect pickup line." We can play the video to get it right. But the summary of it was, he was like, he would go up to a woman and he'd be like, What's your availability as far as being hit on right now?" He's like, she would laugh and she would know my intentions, and then like I gave her it out and I gave her it in, and I like, you know, he's like it works every time.
That's pretty
Someone
good.
in the chat just says, "Hey, I need you."
Ooh.
I need you, a higher intensity version of "Man, I Need You."
Yes.
Do you remember when you guys, Shaan, or whoever was screen sharing? I just sent an example of one. But the best content on social that I'm following this year. Do you remember, Shaan, when we talked about cinematic content? I think we talked about creator camp. Is that what we talked about?
Yeah.
So, like, here's just one example of a podcast, but I'll send you a few more examples. But that's just one example of a podcast. Who is this? Mark Brazil. Have you seen this guy's podcast?
I've seen this because it stands out right in the feed.
Oh
You're
my
like,
God, it
what is
stands
this,
out.
like hostage negotiation situation.
And so we've talked about cinematic content. So we talked about this company called Creative Camp. And I'm noticing that, like, if you guys follow, like, there's a bunch of 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old kids making, like, content that is not just, like, the talking head videos. And it's beautiful. And it's starting to transfer over into, like, podcasting, which is, you know, normally they don't do this. And, like, Chris Williamson has done this with his sets for Matthew McConaughey. And I'm noticing that this type of cinematic content where it's, like, a beautiful background and it's not just, I don't know, your phone, it's way more popular, and I love it. I love this stuff. I'm loving internet content at the moment because of this trend.
So not a tweet
All right.
or a meme.
You said, yeah, you're right. You did say meme of the year.
But I think it's cool, and you're right.
Dude, I don't know. You
I
pay attention to
support you.
memes? I don't pay attention to memes.
Anything's a meme these days, guys.
But it's always like a meme. It's not like a long-lasting thing. It's just like whatever was like the Drake
It's true.
video, like
It is hard.
the Drake video, or like all the trends on Instagram that, like, yeah, it's cool for a week and I love it, and then it's like move on.
I'll give you two. The first, I'll give you a funny one first. All right, can you put it by a funny one? This one's just, it wasn't the most funny thing, but I gotta say, it's affected every day of my life. So the tweet is a reminder that tapping your credit card is a spiritually passive and feminine behavior and men should pay via confident and a penetrative thrust into the chip reader. And I read this, I laughed, and now every time I pay for something, I can't help but think about this, and I've been thrusting, my friends. I've been thrusting.
You got to walk around with that wad of cash. That's the most manly thing you can do.
Oh, that
She's
would be
right.
John Morgan.
You do need a
That
wad.
would be John Morgan right there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, I haven't pulling out a
Give
wad.
a finger lick before I start
Yes.
unfolding some bills.
Dude,
Just
so
that's how you pick up girls. Just count your bills, just
My
in the corner. They'll
my
come.
father-in-law did that. He had $1,000 in 20s, and it was and one time he had it in a rubber band, and I was like, I'm in. So when I bring a wallet, I definitely like to have $500 or $1,000 of like 10s and 20s, and it just
Looks weird in the pocket, though.
they know.
I know something.
They know.
And then I have a wholesome tweet, and this is from Jay Yang, young guy, Jay Yang, who said something very
the
wise.
sweetest.
Is that the you could just do things guy?
He's the you could just do things guy, and he said, here's the hill I'm willing to die on. He says, real success is how many people thank you for theirs. And I thought, wow, that was actually really profound. And I think I'm going to steal that as like, what's the point of all this kind of like, what is the North Star as far as success goes? And I was like, I think that's the best metric.
Can I say something that I've noticed, Sean, with you and me is, and I'm wondering if this is true for everyone or a lot of people. So inspirational, motivational, cheesy content. There's like, I don't know
so
what
back.
it's. I don't know if it's called a bell curve. It's like an upside down bell. Well, where you're in the
smile
middle.
curve.
Yes, you're in the middle of or you're in the beginning of your career and you use it like crazy. So I read so many self-help books, and I would listen to Tony Robbins audiobooks constantly. Then you start getting in the thick of it, and you're like, I just got to get this thing done. I got to spend 5 or 10 years doing it. Then you get past that, and you're a little bit on Maslow's highest hierarchy of needs, and it's so back. I listened to so many like Jordan Peterson or Alex Hormozy like compilation clips where it's just like yelling at me or like reading inspirational stuff. Are you guys doing that same thing right now?
Love me a
No.
good quote. Love me a good little, like, I don't know, give me some italics. I need some italics in my life. You know, that's how I feel. I love a good quote. I've actually
Same.
realized that most smart people like look down upon classic quotes or cliches or motivation or inspiration. Good. More for me. More for me. I'm all in on that. That is the index funds of content for me. I put me in. I want it all.
Same. I'm on board with that.
You guys are into live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was going to say that. This is the live, laugh, love version. But you know what, Steph? There's a reason why millions of basic Oklahoma and Missouri women have this on their walls.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm just 2 years away. I see it coming.
Yeah.
Steph, are you like, I don't like fortune cookie stuff right now? You're like, I want.
Yeah,
insightful
I
analysis?
spent years reading personal development books, and now I'm at that point where I'm like, I know it all. I read a new personal development book. I've seen it before, but I know. I hear what you're saying. In a few years, it's going to come back, and I'm going to be like, these people were so wise.
Look, Steph, I'm gonna be patronizing to you. You're young. You'll figure it out. You'll
I
get
remember
there.
when I
Like-
felt that way.
Yeah.
2 years older than me, something like that.
You'll get there. You'll understand once you have a few kids, Steph.
How old are you now,
Wait.
Steph?
And then
I'm
when you have
32,
one, and then
just
when you have
turned
one
32.
kid, when you have one kid, we're gonna say, wait till you have two.
Wait till you have two. That's the most patronizing thing.
Wait,
Well,
Sean,
no,
you've
that's
got
easy. While somebody's in
kids?
like in the deep.
Sean's got a gaggle.
I got 3.
you going for more?
So I get to do it to Sam. Sam's got 2. So I'm like, oh, 2. Oh,
I
so
don't,
you're on vacation, huh? Oh, that must be nice.
I'm not gonna blow up her spot. I'll let you decide, Sean. But Sean's wife on Instagram is a great follow right now. She does some wild elf on the shelf stuff, and it is a great find. Me and Sarah will be like, look at what she did today. It's incredible.
We went
She-
to like a kid's school performance today, and this mom came over to her, and she was like, I just got to say, I live for your story right now. She's like, every day I'm checking. When is she going to post it? She's like, I'm not going to do any of that stuff, but I love that you do it. And I was like, oh God, you never want to be in that position.
The other day, she took a huge wall, like imagine a 1-bedroom wall, and using Post-it notes, I think they were Post-it notes, she outlined the Grinch. So imagine the Grinch's face, but the art is like Post-it notes.
I got to show you on
That
the
is
time lapse
so
of it.
sick.
It was like a Monet.
It's still up. We're not taking it down.
I don't think you can. That looks like she must have like used string to like put the like make like the grid, right? It looks like a pretty like intense
It was
project.
hilarious because it was the only one of the season I did with her because it was like such a big one to do, and we needed some like bonding time, and so I was like, okay, let's do this. But she's a perfectionist and is good at things, and I'm a good enough is good enough kind of guy, and so it was just an awful experience for both of us to try to do that together because she's trying to like create a grid, and if something was off, she'd have to
It's
go
like
back
putting
and fix
together
it.
furniture with your girlfriend. It just like it doesn't
And
end
I'm like,
well.
I'm like, they're 4 years old. They're not gonna know. They can't even see this high. So like, it's like they will never know that there was this like 1 millimeter gap, and she had to fix it.
She must have listened to the Will Guidara pod that I did.
That was her
Unreasonable
inspiration for
insanity.
sure.
She must be a listener.
Wait, I want to hear you guys. We didn't do best new habit. Did you guys have a good one for that one? I also partially just want to brag.
What is you're a runner now, Steph? We
that
get
you
it.
did this
Yeah.
year.
Yes, we missed that one.
You're
Yeah.
you're a runner and you're fast. We
Sam's
get it.
like we missed it intentionally.
No, I think you've been running really. I assume you're gonna say running, right? Because your times are actually
Yes.
incredibly fast.
Yes.
Yes, I'm like
didn't run all
yes,
these miles for
now
nothing.
we can finally talk about it.
Go for it.
What am I running all these miles for? No, yeah, my best life hack / new habit, that was the category, was running. And I just wanted to say that I started running about 14 to 16 months ago, and I've run 2 marathons, and I'm mentioning it because I feel like everyone runs now, but also there's a ton of people that have never done it because they think it sucks, and it's awesome. And I think anyone can like get to the point where they're running marathons, running 3 miles a day. That's how I started. And yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
What was wasn't your time like sub 8-minute miles?
Yeah, I just ran my second marathon, 3:30, so just under
That's
8.
incredible, Shaan. That's fast.
Why?
Yeah, I just said it there.
Why do people do this? Why do all of you who are doing this do this? That's how I
Dude,
feel about
it is-
running marathons.
It is awesome. It is awesome. Like I like to run. I'm horrible at it. I get more joy out of running than any type of weightlifting or any other exercise. I think that it's less good for you than the other stuff, but it's the most enjoyable when it hits.
It's because you can do this with weightlifting, but you can measure your progress so clearly. And you can also progress really quickly, I think, compared to other sports or
I think it's
or
just going to be one of
athletics.
those things for me. Mustard, pickles, running, just things I don't like that other people seem to love. I just can't do it.
I don't know, man. 20 minutes into like a 50-minute run, like you go into like a little bit of a cave, and it is like a special. It is kind of special. It is cool. You should try it.
Here's my pitch. Everyone talks about this running high. Don't chase the running high because it's far away. Think about, do you like walking?
Love walking. Huge walker.
Great. So the feeling you get when you're walking is not, I can't wait for this to end. It's like, I'm outside. Look at this beautiful thing. My body feels good. There is a spectrum, not like a binary difference between walking and running, right? So people talk about them like they're 2 separate things. But there is some version of running, it might be really slow right now, where you feel like you're walking. And so if you start there, which is not where we're taught to start, and you just run at that pace for 1 mile a day and then 2 miles a day, and then, do that for a while, you will get to a point where your body, becomes more efficient. And over time, you're going to be running 10-minute miles at that walking feeling pace, and you're going to love running. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Nice try.
Yeah. The jury will consider what you said and
And he might be out for a flight. I don't know.
guilty. Yeah. All right. So
That's
did you have
it.
a habit you wanted to do or no?
No, waking up early.
All right. Well, Steph, I hope you got that in. That's great. Steph, you have some offer for people who are listening. What is the offer? What is the thing that you were giving people if they go in the comments or the description and click? What is it?
Oh, yeah. HubSpot and you guys at My First Million were very kind and generous to offer. Internet Pipes is a project I've worked on for the last 2 years. Probably heard about it on the pod before. So if you go to the link, I guess, in the show notes, you can enter and get one of 10 copies. There's also a MFM code you can use if you don't want to wait for that. If you end up winning, we'll refund you. And if you enter, you get my digits database. So it's like 100 plus digits. So these like generation defining trends that hopefully will mean something meaningful in the future. Things like we talked about some of these really impressive people before, right? But like, what did Elon see? He saw that it was possible to exponentially decrease the cost to send a kilogram to space. What does that mean? Well, it means like completely rethinking our communication system, Starlink. Right.
So they go in, they definitely get the database, and then 10 people will also get free access to pipes.
Exactly.
All right, go get it. All right, guys, what a
Peace.
year.
God bless America. God bless this podcast. Shaan, good year.
Another one in
also,
the books, brother.
You guys didn't even catch
I can't see. What does it say? I'm on a small screen.
Is it backwards?
How about them noodles?
Them noodles. That's a wrap.